Super excited about some of these benefits that we're bringing with this cold plunge. We're so excited to have this as part of one more tool in our wellness collection. So let's talk about some of the things that are actually going to happen to your body while you're actually in that cold plunge. Initially, when you get in there, your body's going to kind of go into reactionary overload, right? So there's going to be all sorts of nerve endings firing. You're going to get that tingling. You're going to get that adrenaline rush and all sorts of things. And it's going to be a shock. And what does our body do when we get that shock? It's the initial response for everybody, right? Everyone does it. It's just something that's going to be happening. So ready for that. You can control it, but enjoy it, right? It's your body basically saying, something's going on. I got to get ready for this. Moving past that, your body has this real initial response where it kind of says, okay, I'm in a cold response. I'm in a cold area. I need to kind of block that, and it's going to push all sorts of warm blood to the outside. You're basically getting flushed with heat, trying to block that cold and push it out. You can kind of experience this and you can kind of see the response from this. After you're in there for about 20, 30 seconds, just kind of move a little bit and everything gets so much colder because you've warmed that heat, you've heated that area around you, kind of create a little shield for you, right? And then you're kind of breaking that shield and you're getting back into the cold. So that's just the initial response. Your body has a relatively low ability to deal with cold on a long term, so it reacts really, really quickly. So the first thing it's going to do is instead of pushing all that blood out, it's going to start pulling all that blood in. It needs to protect your core temperature to make sure that you're protecting the vital organs. So what that does is it starts constricting all of your blood vessels on the outside. You're going to get all your blood going on the inside. This is where all of that inflammation, that your chronic inflammation that's causing back pain and knee pain and all those other areas, that's where it's going to start helping that because it's pulling all those things back in. It's reducing that inflammation. It's reducing those cytokines that are floating around in your body, giving you that relief. Additionally, at the same point, your nerve endings are starting to get a little bit slowed because when we're colder, we're slower, right? So those nerve signals of all those pain responses, those are being slowed too. So you've got this reduction of inflammation, you've got this slowing of pain. This is all those kind of like relaxing benefits. Now let's talk about what's going on in your brain. In your brain, your body's basically trying to react to this response and trying to figure out, I'm in this situation, how do I fix it, right? So what's going to happen is your hormones are going to go haywire in a good way, in the way that makes you think, okay, I need to find a response to this. I need to find a solution. Let's think clarity. Norepinephrine, epinephrine, dopamine, all these things are going to start skyrocketing to get to the point where you can think clearly and really find a solution. So your focus, your clarity, your ability to problem solve, and your cognitive influence just goes through the roof, right? Because it wants your body to be able to say, how do I solve this problem that I just found myself in, yeah? At that point, we start cooling down a little bit more, and your body kind of goes, all right, it's time for us to start creating some heat. We really need to start pushing this because we're in a cold situation. We need to make sure we're not going to get too cold to the point where it's a problem. So we go into this amazing response. This is called non-shivering thermogenesis. Now the first part's pretty easy, right? Non-shivering, we're not going to shiver. Thermogenesis means heat creation. How do we create that heat? Through really, really specialized little cells called brown fat. Brown fat, I know it's weird, different colors of fat inside your body. White fat is what we typically consider the wrong type of fat, right? It's large, big kind of globs of fat with very few abilities to kind of like process that, little mitochondria, right? Brown fat is the opposite. It's tiny little pockets of fat with tons of mitochondria surrounded around it, so it can turn on in an instant and create this huge amount of heat. So what we want is we want the brown fat. We don't want the white fat. Cold plunge triggers that brown fat and makes us use it. And our body realizes the way that we use things, and when we use things more, it says, I need more of that, right? It creates that response. So the next time it has the opportunity to store fat, it's going to store it as brown fat as opposed to white fat. Also, while this brown fat is on, it's using a whole bunch of energy. So it's kickstarting your metabolism, it's upstarting all of your energy production and creating a way to basically be that little furnace inside of you. One really cool thing too, I know we just said like when you get new fat, it's going to store it as brown fat. It can actually change the fat that's in your body as well. So your body will start prioritizing. If you've got white fat, you've got that fat you don't want to have, it can start using a process called browning. Not too creative of a name, but it browns that fat and turns it into the brown fat, so then it's better for use on that side of it. Again, Brown fat is all the good things we want in fat. White fat is not necessarily the good things. So being able to maximize that is the coolest part of using a cold plunge, right? So now we've got mental clarity, we've got mental focus, we've got this increased metabolism, we've got increased immunity, we've just got all these huge benefits. The next step past that, we start getting into shivering, right? We were in non-shivering, now we're in shivering. Your body's just firing every single muscle in your entire body, just trying to create all sorts of heat. At that point, we get to the point where we're a little bit past the maximized health benefits. So it's really kind of like our natural timer of saying, okay, it's time to jump out of this cold plunge and experience the benefits. So once we jump out, all those processes start turning off in reverse. So shivering is going to stop first, and then our non-shivering thermogenesis is going to keep going for a little bit. So that's going to turn off eventually. Our blood circulation is eventually going to return, start relaxing everything. But this process of warming up naturally extends all of those benefits for up to 24 hours. Our metabolism increased for 24 hours. Our immunity's responses increase for 24 hours. Some of our brain function can last up for up to 2 to 3 to 4 hours. All of these things continue to happen to the point that we just kind of have this amazing feeling afterwards of just we're alive, we're focused, we just got this huge metabolism. It just kickstarts your entire day. That's what happens. That's what happens. We get in a cold plunge, we walk in, we get out in a totally different way. Absolutely amazing.